In this video, we're talking through a few ideas a hiker can use to fuel before a morning's hike or a morning's training session. Now, this question came through the other day, just sort of saying, I know it's important to fuel and to eat before training, but I can't bear the thought of eating first thing in the morning, and I would have to wake up crazy early for that to settle. What can I do? And when it comes down to this, very, very, very common situation for a lot of people, because realistically, when we are looking at training, for the most part, we want to have some food in our stomach and some fuel in our stomach to get us through the session. Same thing for our hikes as well. Now, we can survive any type of training, any type of hiking initially if we're not eating. A lot of people can get out there, go out on empty stomach. It's not that big a deal. But if we're really looking at to increase our performance, so increase how much effort we could put into our sessions or increase how comfortable we feel in the first couple of hours of hiking, we probably do want to eat something. Now, as things do get more and more and more intense, so say you're looking at training sessions which are on the little harder side of things, maybe look at interval training or strength training, or maybe you've got a hike which just starts off very, very difficult. This gets more and more and more important. And it's something we want to look at here. Now, in the perfect world, we would ideally have something to eat, which is usually carbohydrate based, usually 1 to 2 hours before training. This is typically something we want to do just to get a bit of fuel. Carbohydrates would providing a lot of fuel through a lot of our training and hiking. And we want to be making sure we're getting something like that 1 to 2 hours in the kind of perfect world. And the closer we get to training, so if we're getting close to that hour mark, we want something that's not going to take forever to digest, but something's relatively quick digesting. But in this particular situation, when we're training in the morning, this isn't super realistic because we can kind of fall into this situation that if we just eat immediately and then we start training, then this can just sit in our stomach and feel a bit uncomfortable. It can sort of like inhibit how much we can actually perform in our training. And when we're hiking, the same thing. Alternatively, this can be a situation where like, all right, well, I know I really need food in me, but I'm going to train at 5 o'clock, or I'm going to train at 6 o'clock. I've got to wake up an hour or two before that to get food in me. And that just ends up being a little bit backwards because it compromises our sleep. It's probably not super sustainable. And if you're already hiking at the crack of dawn, we don't want to be waking up even earlier. So we want to be smart around this. Now, typically the solution here is if we are looking at pre-fueling before a session or pre-fueling before hiking, we just want to play around with different foods and see different food types, which may work a bit better for you. Now, if you are eating kind of right before training and you're eating 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 20 minutes before training, we kind of want to have a think about, okay, we wake up. We want to get something in that is high carbohydrate because carbs are going to provide fuel for us during the session. But what we probably want to look at is something that's low fat, low fiber, and low protein. Now, the reason behind this is fiber, fat, protein all slow down the digestion process a little bit. And if you've only got 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes before you actually start exercising, we don't want it to sit in your stomach. We want it to digest really quickly so you can be as comfortable as possible. So a few simple examples here might be just having some fruit. Wake up, have a banana. That may be enough. Have some dried fruit, have some dried apricots, whatever it may be. Maybe a case of having some white bread, just a piece of white toast, or a bagel, or rice cakes with honey, or whatever it may be. Looking at this sort of stuff that is intentionally quicker digesting can be a really, really good option in this situation. Alternatively, some people will do that. They're like, oh, you know what? I've had a banana and eaten that. Like, it just doesn't feel good. Then going down that route, you may want to consider looking at liquid calories. So essentially liquid calories, when food is in liquid form, it tends to be just quicker digesting again. So we can get it in and can digest pretty quickly. So you may be a situation where you're like, okay, I'm going to train first thing in the morning. I'm going to hike first in the morning. Maybe the night before, maybe I'll make a bit of a smoothie. And the reason I say night before, it just sounds like a crack at dawn and you're waking everyone up. But I'll make a smoothie. I'll put some fruit in there. Again, make sure it's low protein, low fat, low fiber, but just have that before you go away, before you start training. Maybe some fruit juice, just a glass of orange juice, maybe not. Admittedly, sometimes the fruit juice doesn't feel amazing first thing in the morning, but it could be an option. Or, it could be potentially looking at like the electrolyte supplement with carbohydrates, like a sports drink. Having that type of stuff first in the morning may not taste amazing, but it is designed for this type of process, just to be that quick digesting fuel. There's definitely things worthwhile exploring. Like in the end, it's not the end of the world if you can't get something in right before training, and even if liquid calories doesn't quite work. But if you are looking at increasing your ability to exert during your training. If you're doing hiking, which is relatively difficult first thing in the morning or whatever it may be, it's definitely worthwhile playing around with this and considering it because it can make a bit of a difference. Getting that fuel in, making sure you have that energy to actually perform and do your best. So if you've never explored any of this or you do struggle with eating in the morning or whatever it may be, maybe try some of these ideas out, see if anything works for you, and it may make a bit of a difference moving forward.